Egg is a free-to-play indie game developed by Terry Kavanagh and published to itch.io, and I am pronouncing it correctly. In my previous video, I made some claims about Egg that, at the time, I meant with a resounding tectonic sincerity. But time, that weird wily mistress, has decomposed my thoughts into a slurry, and now my opinion has 180'd. All that to say, I was wrong about Egg in more ways than one. But that's not the only thing I was wrong about in my previous video. I was so wrong, so frequently, I now feel spiritually compelled to gush forth a mountain's worth of addendums and clarifications on my ribaldry wrongitude. This video will serve as a companion piece to my previous one, which covered Terry Kavanagh's indie game collection, Terry's Other Games. I will link it now in the corner and in the description below. I don't dare say the video's title because God knows I will change it at some point to something stupid. It is important to note while this video is a companion piece and addendum to my previous upload, my previous video is not required viewing prior to watching this particular video, but you are a person with thoughts and feelings capable of making informed decisions, so if you want to watch the previous video first, go wild. Otherwise, hang tight while I finish this intro for the regulars. I will begin with my re-review of Egg and fully apologize for being such a wrong guy. I'm putting this up front because I'm sure most people who clicked on this video are just here for some Egg goodness. If that is the case, feel free to head out at the conclusion of the Egg segment. For those who remain, I will be reviewing Mr. Platformer from the perspective of the 100% run, discussing how At a Distance actually functions, and concluding with some small reviews of other Terry games that were recommended in the comments section of my previous upload. I think that basically lays everything out pretty clearly, so let's get down to Egg. In my previous video I said, and I quote, "I hate this game." My initial position was that Egg is a largely frustrating experience and bordered on rage game bait. Well, part of my spiritual rebirth into the man I am required me to take a solemn oath that, when I'm wrong about something, I admit my fault and ignorance and take meaningful steps to wholly remedy the problem. Allow me to retroactively alter my first video's egg hook of "I hate this game" to something more reasonable and accurate to my newly blossomed bird wing sprouted jubilant feelings. Egg is pretty cool. So what changed? Well, you see, I was visited in the dead of night by 3 specters. The first showed me my life before playing Egg by Terry Kavanagh. The second showed me my life after playing Egg by Terry Kavanagh, and the third re-aggravated my ingrown big toenail by chanting an incantation at my exposed ass. Actually, to be real, it was only one ghost. Actually, to be real, the reason I have softened on Egg has entirely to do with one of my initial points about the game. Egg has big twitch factor. Egg is a silly game which demands its goofy ass is shared far and wide by internet fiber optic science fiction cables, or by the more traditional and meaningful word of mouth. While working on the script for my previous video, I was mentally spiraling like a big girl about how to structure and get across my Egg-related thoughts. It was the only game covered which I had active negative feelings about. So the dawning of realization demanded I tactfully approach my old man meets the clouds incoming diatribe screed. I literally entered my office, broke out my shitbox Chromebook, and began picking and pecking at the argle-bargle keyboard runes before I even had the audacity to turn on the gosh darn lights. In my office, cloaked by the blinds chopped haze of the autumn morning, I situated my thoughts into semi-sufficient Word Web Google Docs catalogs. I became immune to the pestering sensations of the outside world and demanded of myself the same level of precision and perfection Simone Biles or Captain Chelsea Burnett Sully Sullenberger would demand of themselves. The only thing which matters in the face of eternity's irrelevance canon is typing the words good and true and quickly. Time is a perfect concoction of need and want and spins at its own inherent rate. No amount of external tinkering or desire on behalf of any party can rattle time's stubborn disposition from its lofty deital throne. "What the fuck are you working on?" questioned a disembodied voice. My eyes darted to attention, and to my crushing disappointment, I found not a poltergeist of ill repute, but instead a corporeal mass of coworker meat. After a brief look of profound dismay at the discovery, I gathered myself and retaliated to the question simply. "Egg." All that needed to be said was said more efficiently than any other idea I have ever uttered. Can you believe it? Me, struggling with not getting to the point in a timely manner? I can hardly believe it. "What the fuck do you mean, egg? That doesn't mean anything. Why are you always saying things that don't mean anything?" A beautiful rebuttal from the mouths of babes and etc. God's vessels are always speaking mad shit at me. I did not reply. My body automatically, instinctively pivoted in my shoddy work-approved Office Depot office chair. My fingers tap-danced a vivacious little dance, and on the monitor flashed a single image and a single word. "Egg." "I see now," was the only reply. From that moment, and for the entirety of the last work week, I have gathered in my office with coworkers and played egg loudly and poorly. What began as a two-person tandem time-honored egg extravaganza, or eggstravaganza, quickly attracted the attention of the other goons and goblins who lurked behind each and every warden door soul cavern. 1 became 2, became 3, became 4. I found myself located in the center of a revolution of sorts. I am proudly a member of the Egg Lunchtime Big Gang. Egg has massive Twitch factor. Egg has massive lunchtime good time factor. Egg is a game which revels in its goofy exterior and borderline rage game mechanics. Egg is a game for the people, and any game that can get a group of grown men hooting and hollering because yours truly missed a crucial jump in a crucial moment is a game that deserves its allotment of beautiful flowers. The Egg Lunchtime Big Game has created its own vernacular to describe the elements of Egg. The levels are lovingly called Idiot Tree, the Crane, the Funnel, Spin Hell, the Depths, and the Other One. Jumps are referred to as a 0-clicker, a 1-tap, a 2-fer, and a 3. Egg's gameplay language demanded our monkey brain ordained evolution word computers to create perfect language to describe an imperfect game. I have now completed Egg a total of 5 times. My first attempt took multiple hours of trial and error jump disasters, with the Depths and the Funnel absolutely kicking my ass. My most recent run, this morning, prior to the beginning of this scripting process, took shy of just 30 minutes. I am learning and improving and finding more and more to enjoy about this game. My time could go even lower if I wasn't simply the worst to ever do it, or if the Funnel wasn't such fucking horseshit. To summarize and reduce and reanalyze, Egg is a game with a fun PS1 retro polygonal aesthetic. The gameplay involves navigating your egg through platforming challenges while negotiating an arcane jump system. In my original video, I refer to Egg as a puzzling platformer, but not a puzzle platformer. I stand by this particular assessment. Egg has massive Twitch factor, and I am certain if given the right opportunity, Egg would ascend to the top of the virality mountain to receive God's coded instructions about the way we should all conduct our bumblefuck lives. Egg is pretty good. And I want to formally apologize to Terry specifically for disparaging what I, at the time, did not fully grasp. Egg is a game about an egg, and that's all it needs to be. I am sorry on behalf of myself and the entire Egg Lunchtime Big Gang. Egg, 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 egg. Spoiler warning for Mr. Platformer. You heard me right. Somehow, some way, you need to know that Mr. Platformer is a game that can be spoiled. I'm gonna do just that, literally, right now. In my previous video, I stated that Mr. Platformer is exactly what it says on the tin and conforms to a straightforward naming convention. In Mr. Platformer, you platformer and are presumably a Mr. Done, check. Ring the bell a single time. Don't pay attention to this cryptic message. Write the blurb. Go next. Export. Receive dopamine from YouTube comments. That's that. It's simple stuff. What don't you understand about this? Some of y'all who are more well-versed in the Terry-verse than I may have viewed my wham bam thank you ma'am mini review of Mr. Platformer to be subversive or intentionally misleading. A gambit of sorts to ensure that others who play Mr. Platformer receive the full blunt force of caustic realization. That's not the case. I'll own up to the fact that I am a full-blown God-known idiot and had no clue that Mr. Platformer is not that straightforward to receive my award for Best Naming Convention of the Year. In fact, underneath its soft and sharp retro exterior, Mr. Platformer contains onion-like layers of oddness. I want to formally recognize YouTube user Snapshark for their excellent comment and encouraging me to return to Mr. Platformer to reach 100% completion. Without this comment, I would not have rebooted the game and experienced the true strangeness of Mr. Platformer. All that to say, spoilers ahead. This is now your second spoiler warning and final one, so be prepared to get double-barrel shotgun blasted with some sacred and arcane. Initially, I only played somewhere between a dozen and 20 of Mr. Platformer's levels and everything seemed perfectly normal, with the exception of this cryptic message. They all cut, and the last one kills, flanking the edges of an ever-ticking clock. I was finding myself getting frustrated at the game's ladder navigation mechanics and these insta-death water spikes, and I just simply called it a day. But I returned, I summoned my strength, and I did the hardest thing a human being can do. I finished a short video game for the sake of a YouTube video. In Mr. Platformer, all is well in this little world. You select levels from a level select screen that come in 4 varieties: Maroon Labyrinths, Pitfall Woods, Mario Water, and Orange-Yellow Platforming Hell. New mechanics are gradually introduced as you clear a semi-pre-prescriptive level order. Eventually, I reached the point where I had cleared all the Orange and Yellow Platformer Hell stages, and their boxes on the level select screen grayed out. I didn't think much of this until I selected one of them on my level progression path. The level is empty and monochrome. A dull resounding ticking fills the air. You're not supposed to be here. Go home. You head left. Continue on your journey. Mr. Platformer does an excellent job introducing small elements that create a sense of dread and an impeding sort of implicit horror. They all cut, and the last one kills. The empty ticking wastelands of past cleared levels. The fade to gray that occurs after you ring a bell. What exactly am I, the player, doing to these worlds as I rob them of their point-related treasures and forever bell-ringing them out of existence? In the game's penultimate moments, the player selects the final levels, which have become a garbled mess of squares and forsaken ideas tossed into the digital game maker's blender. Mr. Platformer remains grounded and focused on his task, but the world once constructed disintegrates before him into a jumbled heap of existential nothing tiles. To the Mr. Platformer, navigating this mess of a board is easier than most of the challenges that come before. However, instead of finger dexterity platforming challenges, the player faces eyes locked forward, the game's subtle storytelling, and sheer mindfuckery. They all cut and the last one kills. You, as Mr. Platformer, finally arrive at the final Bell's Tower. After ringing each and every standard level bell and achieving 100% God Gamer completion, all that is left is to ascend the tower to claim your prize. Game complete. You spawn again. Previously, this spawn screen was boisterous, announcing the arrival of both Mr. Platformer and Terry Kavanaugh. But now, empty grayscale blocks dot the edges of a perfectly flat, empty plane. The old board remains, completely cleared of any traces of what once was: the labyrinths, the forest, the waves, all reduced to this. All reduced. Continue your approach. You know where to go. All men and women seek the top right truth. Continue. You are ordained to do so. Continue. You must ascend the tower. They all cut, and the last one kills. You remember, but you don't know why. You jump, and are met with pure and perfect silence. The ladder beckons. You arrive. And that's Mr. Platformer. I have never clicked the Windows X button so fast in my life. Get me the absolute fuck out of here. When you return to the homepage of Terry's other games, Mr. Platformer is gone, like, for good. The blurb now reads, "There used to be something here, but I don't remember what it was," which is super neat, but I don't like scary stuff because I'm the world's biggest baby. Needless to say, I'm a bit conflicted on this matter. Thank you again to Snapshark for putting me through that. For your trouble, I want to present you with the inaugural Mr. Platformer Award for making Demora do something spooky. I encourage you to put this on your resume. I will be a reference if necessary, but not in a parasocial way, but more in a you won an award sort of way. Tell your family, tell your friends. They'll think it's neat, and they'll think you're a badass. I would now like to confer another set of awards onto everybody who knew what game I was talking about during my roverview of Hero's Adventure. I vaguely alluded to a game where you turn your sweet cute baby chicken into dinner and then accuse Terry Kavanaugh of attempting to sweet baby chicken my ass. The game I was alluding to, of course, was Can Your Pet. To everyone who latched onto that line and left your insightful comments, I confer upon thee the following honor. The Sweet Baby Chicken My Ass Award for filling my brain hole with knowledge goodness. Unfortunately, you cannot include this on your resumes due to the whole mega fucked up nature of Can Your Pet and Hero's Adventure. I considered playing Can Your Pet to capture footage for this segment, but decided against it because I don't want to ruminate excessively on the past trauma of loss. Sincerely, when I watched Can Your Pet on YouTube back in the day, it utterly decimated my spirit. My spirit now is good and strong, but I still doubt I can weather the Can Your Pet horror without minor celestial abrasions. So, At a Distance is actually pretty fucking cool. In my previous video, I referred to At a Distance as being distant and arcane. I could not puzzle out what the game wanted from me, which is crazy, because I only intentionally ignored Terry's explicit instructions to preferably play this game with 2 people, and opted for single input mode. This instruction was reiterated in the comments of my previous video, but I will remain stubborn and stupid, and guess what? I figured it out, y'all. The missing piece for me was what you did with these cubes. I noticed at the beginning that wordlessly all of the information I needed was effectively communicated. There's the spawning room, and 6-ish cubes laying in a straight line to reach some sort of final location. I puzzled out the cubes must be levels that I could use to build some sort of path, but the exact mechanics on how to string these cubes together, well, that's what was lost on me. I continued to fiddle, and eventually I realized I am in fact big fucking stupid, and I got the cubes to link, and bada bing, bada boom, we got a game on our hands. So, to review At a Distance briefly, now that I have washed myself clean of the full-blown stupid allegations, At a Distance is a puzzle platformer which requires players to solve intricate spatial puzzles. Ideally, this game is played with 2 people, one who constructs the levels, and another who explores them. The explorer will find keys along their way which unlock doors that contain additional cube levels, which then in turn contain additional keys. I'm sure you see what's going on here. The 2 modalities of play effortlessly interlink and allow for unique role-playing amongst the players. Once I fully grasped the gameplay loop and collected a few keys, I decided to put the brakes on and give this game a legit go with multiple players at a future date. This small section exists for me to take a gander at some additional games by Terry Kavanaugh which I didn't know existed until about a week ago. I think there's some interesting visuals and stories to be mined from the Flash game depths, so let's get to mining. In my previous video's comment section, at least 2 people mentioned having cherished memories of the game CHATCHAT. I was completely unfamiliar, and due to the loving composition of these comments, I felt cosmically obligated to explore what remains of another sacred memories. In CHATCHAT, you are a cat, and do cat things, like exploring alleys and forests and caves. As a cat, you can purr and catch mice and score points. CHATCHAT, in more grounded, less feline terms, is a chat room with a cat aesthetic. From what I gather, people love CHATCHAT for the same reason I love Nintendo DS PictoChat. It's just dumb fun, and you can jump in and have a good time with your friends, or I guess in CHATCHAT's case, even strangers. I have a vivid and special memory of 4th grade. It was my first year at a new school, and a lot of anxiety clung to me. I didn't immediately integrate with the others in a seamless fashion, but sour integration didn't preclude my efforts. Near Christmas break, the 3 4th grade teachers, exhausted from wrangling and steering young minds, came together to organize a free day. A day where the students could hang out and teachers could take a bit of a load off. One classroom had a rotation of holiday-themed movies, though not all of them were Christmas-themed. There was at least one Casper in the mix. But you make do with what you have. I remember that Casper. I thought it was weird then. It's still weird now. In the second room, there were little activities like coloring books and crosswords and board games and things of that nature. And in the third and final 4th grade classroom, it was a free roam hangout space. There were pillows propped on the walls, all sorts of blankets. The teachers would make you a hot cocoa if you asked. It was really nice. I settled into a bit of a pillow/blanket fort thing with a desire to play Mario Kart DS with my peers through the Nintendo DS sharing function. What a great opportunity to bond through shared interest. Unfortunately, everyone else who brought their DSs was adamant about picto-chatting. Lame, I thought. But I am weak-willed now, so you can only imagine how weak-willed I was then. I collapsed under the onslaught of peer pressure and got to picto-chatting. I took up the moniker, period, and began posting cryptic messages and enigmatic clues leading to secret treasures. I guess not much has changed. My fellow classmates, entranced by this new mysterious character, made it their duty to suss out who the elusive goon was. It was me, and they sorted it out in rather quick measure at that. But what a rush. All this to say, I think I understand why people like CHATCHAT and have such sterling and cherished memories of the game. In my short time playing CHATCHAT, I took up the moniker of the Big Bopper and set out to explore this limited landscape. I scored 1 mouse point, stepped on some things, narrated my journey, and met one individual, Yami. Yami said, "Hi." I said, as the Big Bopper, "Oh my." Yami said, "A." And then Yami left the game. If I tried harder, I'm positive I could mine a metaphor for this exact interaction. Unfortunately, I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Now, let's conclude with something really fucking silly. Don't play Vegetable Game. I had no clue this game existed, and I am eternally grateful to those of you who mentioned this game in your comments. Y'all are God-proven, full-fledged internet freaks, and I am blessed. Really, all I have to say here is that someone who plays music on their phone at the back of the bus is a fucking punk, and Leopold II of Belgium has hands. Reminder, don't play Vegetable Game. And that wraps us up for the day. You know what they say, another day, another dollar. Except I will never make any money from this because I am terrified to hit the monetization button for reasons and such. Back on topic, thank you for listening with sincerity to my necessary addendums. I hope the egg super freaks will now forgive me and accept me back into their flock, and I hope my ability to play at a distance and understand what's happening makes you certain I am a truly once-in-a-generationally talented intellectual powerhouse. This is a joke. Also, once more, I want to congratulate all of our award winners for receiving the Sweet Baby Chicken My Ass Award for filling my brain hole with knowledge goodness, and Snapshark for winning the Mr. Platformer Award for making Demora do something spooky. What a great day we've had, and what a lot of information we've learned. I feel vindicated and strong and good. I hope you do too. Stay tuned for a brief afterword about some nonsense and such. I promise not to ramble for multiple minutes about nothing this time. Anywho, tally ho, and away. Bye bye. Woohoo, yippee, thank you for watching. I think now's a great opportunity to circle back to my original video on the Terry Kavanagh games if you haven't done so already. If you have watched that video, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that as well. This video was supposed to also feature one additional browser game, Owichi Myth. That's Irish, it means good night, and I definitely pronounced it wrong. But I played through that game and thought it was way too sad. for such a silly video, and I cut it. I cut its segment entirely. You may like that game if you like artsy-fartsy games that aspire to artistic heights and have depressing themes handled in a heavy-handed manner. So if that's for you, I'll leave it in the description alongside everything else. Also, this video was incredibly quick and easy to make because it was primarily addendums and I already had most of the footage captured and the topic close to my heart and mind, so it didn't take too much, mental effort. But never, ever again expect me to have such a quick turnaround. It's not gonna happen. This is a bit of a miracle. 1 whole week, that's crazy. I will be back in a few weeks to a few months depending on how the holiday season and my personal commitments shake out. When I return, I hope to bring you the most video of all time, which will be a multiple-hour review of a single game that I cherish, very similar to my Star Fox review. Feel free to go ahead and peruse the YouTube account for more cool videos. I personally recommend my Losing at Racing Games video because it's so silly, or maybe go ahead and watch that Star Fox review for something more analytical in preparation for the most video of all time. Okie dokie, thanks for watching. Bye bye.